What is it like living in Russia? I've decided to ask about it American immigrants who have been living in Russia last 2 years.
I was just very unhappy in the USA.
Guess how much do I spend per month?
The actual school will come to the parents, we need to give your kid drugs.
You can have 10 girlfriends.
You'll probably be paid less in Russia.
Why he's still here?
I was born in the USA and I lived there most of my life. I first became interested in Russian people and Russian culture 4 or 5 years ago, and then visited Russia for the first time in the winter of 2021. And then I moved back. I brought my dog back with me, lived with my girlfriend in the town of Mutishi, and I've been here about 2 years now.
What is the name of your dog?
His name is Spaz, and he's a Jack Russell Beagle mix, and he's 6 years old.
Was it hard to bring your dog to Russia from America?
Well, it was a lot of paperwork. I needed a veterinary certificate showing my dog was healthy and the right age and had all of his vaccinations and shots. And then I went through all of this trouble. Then I brought him to customs in Russia, and there was this girl in those green uniforms those customs people all wear. So there's this girl in this green uniform, and she's working on my all my documents, and she doesn't even care about the dog. I just have the dog next to me, and she doesn't even ask. I'm like, do you want to see the documents for the dog? She's like, no.
Oh.
But
usually I think it's exception because they could check everything.
Well, they could, yes, and I think she didn't even. I mean, she wasn't the first person to look at the dog because the airline had to check her, and there were multiple people who checked her. By the time you actually get to Russia, it's been looked at so many times. There's not a point, but still, it was funny because I felt like I went through all this trouble for no reason. But yes, it is possible to bring your pets. It's just like any time you go over a state border, you have to think of when you bring animals or plants, they have to think of disease and safety and all of that stuff. So it is possible though.
Why your final decision was not only live here short time but move for permanent life?
I was just very, I guess, unhappy in the USA, and I wanted maybe a quiet, normal place to be. So I would say, actually, especially right now, Russia is more normal than the USA. The only problem is that Russians' idea of normal isn't quite the same as Americans' idea is normal. So it's like any other country, the culture is going to be a little different. Even little things that people take for granted might be a little different in Russia. Just the way people talk to each other and treat each other on the street or in a store might be a little different. So that takes some getting used to, but overall it's been a very good couple of years for me. I feel actually better. I was very stressed out. At the end of COVID, I was very, very unhappy and stressed out, but I already feel better than I did 2-3 years ago.
We Russian people, I have never been in America. That's why for me is I can't compare. So, and I don't understand what is here in Russia special that, as you said, that living in Russia, it's more calm than America. What is going on in America that you can say that here is quiet? Because I don't think this quiet place. What is quiet for you?
Well, so Russians, there's a stereotype that Russians aren't friendly or just cold to each other. That's not actually a true statement. I think the Russian tendency is just to leave each other alone. Like you don't, if you see people that you don't know on the street, you don't need to smile at them or wave at them. You just don't pay attention to each other. You just ignore each other, unless you know them, Then, I mean, if you see someone you know, by all means, wave to that person. So when I say it's more quiet, it's good because it was very nice to just go to a country where I'm left alone and I don't have to talk to anybody unless I want to talk to people.
So for you, it's a plus, right?
Yeah, yes, that's actually, for me, that's a plus, that there's not that expectation, because that is an expectation. It can be stressful. Like, you know, if I just want to walk I want to be alone. I don't want to talk to anybody, and I just want to walk by myself. Then you see people on the street, you're like, oh, I have to respond to this person, or I buy maybe a drink at the store. Oh, I have to talk to this person who's selling me the drink. But in Russia, you don't have to. You can just not have a conversation with those people. And they don't get mad at you for that. You can, if you want to talk, you're walking your dog and you see another person walking a dog, you can start a conversation with it. They might not respond to you. They might not be in a good mood and they just don't want to talk to you, and that's fine. But you're not obligated to talk to everybody. It's normal to not.
I want to ask some personal questions. How your life changed? I mean, do you feel nostalgia? Maybe you miss about someone, or you had no one? And you're happy here, you find new love, new friends, and so on.
Well, there's new love and new friends, but and I really love the country. But it doesn't mean I cut off all ties with people. I still have my parents and my brother and loved ones and friends. I have some very close friends I've known for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And that's a little unfortunate because it's been a while since I've seen all of them, just because it's so difficult and expensive to go back and forth. Like it's last time I checked, it's about $3,000 to buy a ticket from the USA and back. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of money. So I just have not. The last time I've been in the USA was in the summer of 2022. So it's been 2 years now. So I do miss people, but I still talk to them.
Online,
yes, online. I can call them on the phone. You know, I still communicate with a lot of people there.
And they do have friends here in Moscow?
Yes. So I know, well, of course, I know Anna, my Russian teacher.
If you want me to teach you Russian language, so please check my website, annaglobaltravel.ru, and see all information about my courses, individual classes. Link you will find in the description of the video. You have Russian girlfriend?
Yes, Russian.
Why
girlfriend.
Russian?
Well, I'm in Russia. It'd be strange to...
maybe also, there are even so many foreigners. Maybe you can find someone.
Well, yes. I mean, and it's not just, especially in Moscow. It's there's a lot of different people. Because I went to a language institute. This is where I actually met Anna, who's one of the teachers there, and I met a lot of good friends there. Most of whom were not Russian. They were, like me. They're foreigners who were coming.
So you don't have Russian friends?
I do have Russian friends, but in the school I met a lot of foreign friends as well. And outside of school I've met a lot of good Russian friends too. Sometimes even online, if a Russian person sees there's this American who's posting about being in Russia, that person will want to talk to you. So that's how I also made some friends, because I blog about my experiences here. Mm-hmm. And sometimes Russian people in Moscow or just even in other parts of Russia want to talk to me. So
when did you meet your girlfriend?
Well, she was actually, so when I first got interested in Russian culture, so I started talking to Russian people online too, because I have questions about it. So she was actually one of the people that I met on Twitter. She was just somebody I met on Twitter. We were just friends through Twitter. And then I actually met her for the first time when I visited Russia in the winter of 2021. So we developed that relationship further when I decided to come back the second time. So it was kind of a natural progression. And I think that's actually the best way to visit a country, whether it's Russia or somewhere else that you want to live. You shouldn't try to find love first. I think that's actually, sometimes people do just fall in love on the internet. It happens. I'm not going to dismiss that as a thing that can happen, but you shouldn't try to force it. You should just say, oh, I'm interested in this country and the people in this country. I'm just going to visit and make friends. You shouldn't necessarily be trying to find love there either. You should just have an open mind and say, I'm going to meet these people and get to know them and see where it goes from there. Friends is important. Of course, the problem with finding friends in a new country that doesn't speak the same language of you is the language barrier. And I would say that's a problem. But an equal or maybe even bigger problem is money. So if you're thinking of, especially if you're wanting to relocate to a different country, you need to think about how you're going to make money. So I have money from the USA, so I continue getting paid in dollars.
Yes, and how much do you get from US your pension? And the second question will be, is it enough for you for living here in Moscow?
So there's going to be different prices depending if you live in Moscow or you're just visiting in Moscow. Like, there's a difference between a long-term or a short-term lease, right, what you're having to buy in Moscow. So I think it's possible to, if you're saving money and not spending too much, you can live on $1,000 a month, I would think. And that's including rent and...
With rent? You know how much I guess how much do I spend alone? So we now speak about alone person per month in Moscow without rent.
Okay, how much do you pay in rent?
You can guess.
20,000 rubles.
100,000 rubles.
100,000 rubles.
100,000 rubles I spend per month without renting.
Wait, so you on the rent, or that's how much you?
I don't pay. I don't pay for rent because it's my parents' apartment. So I pay only for. No, of course I pay for electricity, for water. It's not much. I pay just 5,000 rubles. So 5,000 rubles. It includes everything: gas, light, internet, phone. Just 5,000, and 95 I spend per month. I think, my opinion, if man live here and if man has a girlfriend, so at least how much? No, more than 1,000.
Well, 1,000 is 90,000 rubles right now,
Yeah,
so that's
90,000.
not very different than what I said for one person. Maybe it's
You spend the same
about.
and without renting.
Well, yes, because I don't pay for rent either. Because my girlfriend owns the apartment, so
So the same you spend.
But yes,
So $1,000 per month without renting. If we rent, 1,500 for one person.
That's actually pretty accurate, I think. Moving to Russia and living in Russia for a long period of time is the easiest if you are someone who has a pension or maybe someone who works remotely, like an IT specialist. Because if you're, let's say, an IT specialist in France or the USA, for example, you don't have to be in the USA or France to do that job. You can be at a computer somewhere in Russia. You can move to a log cabin in Siberia even, and as long as you have Wi-Fi, you're okay. But if it's a job that you can't take with you like that, you need a plan. You can't just move to Russia. You'll probably be paid less in Russia, and that's because the exchange rate right now is more favorable to people with dollars and euros than it is for someone who's getting paid in rubles.
What kind of problem I see now living here, that because of sanctions, like let's say money transaction, and it's really complicated, right, to transfer. Also, if person has money from other country, complicated to get it. If person, you said, work like IT specialist, and how he can get salary from other country if he's living in Russia.
So as of right now, because of those sanctions, if you have money in Western accounts, like in the United Kingdom or USA or European Union, you cannot directly transfer it to a Russian account. So you have to do it through a third party. So there's two common ways people do it. If you have an account in a neutral country that is still friendly to Russia, or if maybe you have a family member, like let's say Armenia or Kazakhstan, a lot of people have families in those countries or have visited those countries before and have bank accounts in those countries. And that's how a lot of them will transfer it, through a third party account, transfer it to one of their accounts in that country and then to Russia. If you don't have that as an option, there's cryptocurrency, which means you sell your euros or dollars for a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or USDC, and then you sell that cryptocurrency for rubles and transfer it into your Russian bank. Because it's two separate transactions, they're unrelated to each other, you can do that, and it's not even illegal. You're not breaking any laws by doing that either. The only disadvantage is that the transaction fees are more than the traditional way.
You see, It's complicated. You can stay in US or you can stay. Okay, if you don't like US, okay, you can leave. So many English-speaking countries, Europe. Why you decided Russia if you don't like living in America? And other countries will be not. No, I mean to choose not sanctions country, to learn new language, to do this complicated money transaction. Try to assimilate for what? What you get?
Well, that's a very good question, and that's why I always tell people that going to Russia because you don't like your old country isn't the right reason, especially if you have problems in your old country, like, for example, I can't find a girlfriend. Well, if you can't find an American girlfriend, you probably also can't find a Russian girlfriend. You're still not going to be happy.
No. I not agree. Maybe, okay, for example, if you are in America, not important, in any kind of Europe or city, if you can't find a girlfriend, if you come in Russia, you will find it's very, I don't say 100%, but your chances increase, because what is the big difference between Russia and other countries? There are living a lot of women, by statistic in Russia, for one man there are 10 girls. So here you can have it's true, Yen, you can have 10 girlfriends.
I can have 10 girlfriends.
Yes, I can't.
I don't have enough money for 10 girlfriends.
And also no need to have money. It's not like this. Some girls are happy.
Oh my gosh.
No. For example, I can't have 10 boys if I want, because there are no boys. I'm lucky if I find half of boy.
Half a boy.
So,
I don't have 10 girls a day asking to be my girlfriend. I mean,
you have opportunity, but if you don't use this chance.
Okay, so I think the moral of what I was trying to say is that if you have problems, if you have personal problems in your life, you take your problems with you. Unfortunately, your personal problems are not in a bag that you can just drop and not take with you. Those problems are still on your back when you come to a new country. So it's wrong to say, I don't like America, I'm going to go move to Russia. That doesn't mean you'll be happy in Russia. The only good reason for coming to Russia is that you have to actually like Russia. Going for a negative reason will just leave you unhappy.
Could you maybe describe the portrait of person? Who is this person who will be happy here? Because every country has advantages and disadvantages. So what kind of American citizen can be happy here, and what kind of American citizen will be not happy? For whom Russia will be comfortable? What do you think?
The biggest plus of, and I don't mean whether or not you're an immigrant, I would say one of the biggest pluses of Russia is that you can be a normal, or even maybe even be kind of a stupid person. Nothing particularly special about you, but you.
What does it mean, stupid?
Stupid.
No.
Not very smart. Even if you're a mediocre person, you're not going to die on the street. You're actually less likely to die on the street in Russia than you are in the USA. I would describe the USA.
What does it mean, stupid? Please elaborate.
I'm not saying Russians are stupid. I'm just saying if this particular person is kind of dumb, he won't die, I would say the best plus of the USA is the opposite. If you're like the smartest, most hardworking person in the world, the USA is the easiest place for you to become a millionaire and a billionaire. The problem is if you're not the smartest person and the greatest person in the world, it's very easy to end up homeless. Like the United States has a much higher homeless rate than Russia. For Russia, if I would say the people who are happy here is going to be a person who wants a stable place for a family. There's no one going to be telling your kids, well, maybe you're the wrong gender, maybe you're actually a girl, even though you were born a boy, but you think that you were actually a girl. No one's going to be telling them that. There's going to be no one at your schools giving them drugs, and by that I mean in American schools, if you can look at the statistics, even the legal drugs, like if your kid is a little too rough or doesn't pay attention in school, they'll literally say maybe your kid has a learning disability, and they will give him drugs. The actual school will come to the parents, we need to give your kid drugs. There's really, I think Russian kids are actually noisier than American kids, and that's because they don't really give them drugs here. Most of the drugs they give kids in the USA are actually illegal. In Russia, they're just not legal at all. I'll just tell you about the immigrants I have met from the USA and Western countries. So I've met some families who are very conservative. Sometimes they're religious, sometimes they're not, and they just want to go and live in Russia and have a conservative upbringing. That's the type of person that I've seen here and seem happy here. Farmers come here, like a lot of times there'll be an American farmer who just decides I'm going to get some land. Farmers can get land in Russia for very cheap. It's actually possible sometimes, depending what program you look into, to get land for free or almost for free because there's a certain deal you make with the government. I'm going to develop this land for my business or my farm or whatever it is. So there's deals like that I've heard of people getting into.
If people not conservative, it will be complicated because here in Russia it's not allow relationships between
I've met some, well, I don't know if it's actually true, so people have asked me, are Russians more conservative than Americans? I would say actually no. I think the difference is Russians are more reserved. And by reserved, I mean, like in Russia, you don't go up to people on the streets and say, I dated 10 girls this week.
So in Russia, if you're a man, it's not a problem. Like if you say, I am single and I am a bachelor and you very interested man, if man bachelor, wow. But if a woman here in Russia say I'm single, especially after, let's say, 25 years old, especially after 30 years old, people judge you and people actually here force you to be married, to have, no, for women to have a husband, to have kids. It's not, of course, not someone say, oh, I hate you, no, but you will feel this atmosphere if you not have kids and marry. And how about in America? If, as I know, it's not a problem.
Well, it depends. I mean, because
maybe it depends on state, right?
Not necessarily. I don't think there's a big difference between the states. I think it's more of cultural background. Like if you're an Indian family, or if you're from a French descended family, let's say in the USA, or there's going to be different attitudes on family. There's probably more pressure on girls too. Like, if it's like, I want to go to university and have a career, then the parents might be unhappy. It's like, well, why aren't you getting married? So I think some of those same conversations happen in the USA too. There's pressure on the kids to follow whatever their traditions are. And there's different groups of people. There's different religions of people. There's different cultures of people in the USA as well.
So, Ian, what is your plans for future? Are you going to settle here for all life, or maybe marry, have kids, or maybe you don't know?
I don't know, but I'm going to be here, I think, for life, probably. So no plans come back to US? No.
Why?
Nada, don't need to.
Or maybe, I don't know, other country?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Not US, you don't
It's not that I don't like the US, it's just there's nothing else. There's not a reason to go back right now.
So, Ian, thank you so much for your interview. It was nice to talk with you. It's really a very interesting talk with you. I can continue, but video will be long. So, guys, you can write, please, in comments if you have any kind of questions to Ian. Ian will be happy to answer, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Or you will not be happy. You're in Russia, you can be not happy.
It's also possible to not be happy. Yes, it's true. It's not against the law to be unhappy. Right. But yeah.
So any advices for subscribers, for people who is watching us, who is thinking about moving to Russia? What will you recommend?
Yeah, I would say the big thing is don't rush, take things in stride. Don't just say, I'm just going to sell everything, give away everything, and move to Russia. That's a bad idea. You need to try visiting Russia for a week or 2 weeks, see if you like it. Maybe visit some other countries. It just depends. Just don't, just understand the process of, it's at least a 2-3 year process to migrate to another country. It's not something you can do in a week. And you need to take it in small steps. So that's my advice for everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Jan. I hope to see you in our future vlogs. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening. Bye for now. Пока-пока.